Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell. I am KG with my co-host, the wrestling enthusiast, Mark. Mark, it is Wednesday night. Do you know what that means?
Sure does.
I'll tell you what that means. Well, I'll tell you what that means to me. That means that is the NWO 2.0. And this is a problem that I have with this whole Jon Moxley thing. We can jump right into it. Tony Khan has already tried this, except he did it with Soraya Page, right? With her little group. That completely bombed. No one cared. The audience didn't take to it, and it went nowhere. Now he's put together Jon Moxley, the BCC, now doing this. We opened up the show with Moxley, and he said that he can see the future, and that he's telling people, you need to come with me because you all work for me. Very interesting. The show tonight, they really continued that storyline that we've seen Wrestle Dream end with. I thought it was a pretty good show. I just have concerns with this whole, Jon Moxley, BCC taking over AEW, and if you're not with them, you're against them. We've seen it a couple of times tonight. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm mixed. I want to see how it develops, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're trying too hard to reinvent something that happened 30 years ago that really kickstarted WCW. It's not organic, and I don't know how well it's going to go, but we'll see. Now, tonight we see the return of Adam Cole, and, I was bitching about Adam Cole coming back as a babyface being left as a heel, and he actually addressed that tonight. He basically said, in a nutshell, that MJF is so evil that he had to be evil to get to MJF. Yep. That's why he did what he did. He came back. He is now a babyface. He, said that they have the best locker room in wrestling, and everybody hates MJF, especially him. He hates MJF. MJF's music, it hit, and we were all expecting MJF to come out. Adam Cole even looked behind him to see if, hey, is he going to attack me from behind? Is MJF? And of course, he didn't. He said that Adam Cole made him the man he is today, and he knows Cole wants to beat him within an inch of his life, but it's never going to happen. MJF said he will dangle the carrot of revenge in front of Cole's face for all of eternity, and that he's pissed that the audience is rooting for Adam Cole and not him when Adam Cole is a real son of a bitch. What did you think of the segment?
I was kind of let down that MJF didn't come out. MJF as a heel or as a face, I enjoy him,
Yeah.
I think it's a good storyline. Or it has the potential to be a good storyline if they don't screw the pooch on this. Adam Cole, face or heel, again, enjoy him. So I really think this could be a main event even without any titles.
Right.
But, it's AEW, so they got every opportunity to screw this up.
Yeah, that's what my concern is. The next segment, we went to backstage with Renee talking to Chris Jericho. He said that he is not done and he wants a rematch for the title again. And he once again brought up Briscoe's brother, who we know was killed in an automobile accident. He brought his brother up again, saying that, he was the great champ. So Briscoe, they show Briscoe later backstage with Renee, and he said he accepts the match, but he wants it to be a ladder war match next week. I'm actually looking forward to this because I think Briscoe in a ladder match, I think it's going to be crazy.
Yep. I'm not a huge Briscoe fan, but he's grown on me.
Mhm.
Jericho, again, great talent, but his best days are definitely behind him. But he can still put on a good match. And I think
Right.
this has the potential to be a good match.
Yeah, I do too. I'm looking forward to this. I don't know how many more ladder matches Jericho has in him though, because like you said, his best days are gone. I don't think his body heals as quickly as it used to, and ladder matches are kind of brutal. And with having Briscoe part of it, you know that it's going to be a very physical match. We finally get to match number one, believe it or not, and it's the return of FTR, and they are fighting Big Bill and Brian Keith. It was a decent match for what it was. FTR looked great, and Big Bill, he looked good as well. Ultimately, FTR won that match. I'd give that match a B minus if I was grading it.
I gave it a C plus, but okay.
Yeah. Well, what was it about it that you didn't like as much?
Big Bill's such an imposing guy. I don't see anybody can legitimately beat him. Just on the power and size of him alone. Brian Keith, I can see, but Big Bill should just dominate. Period.
Yeah, but they did protect him though because it was the bad apple Brian Keith who took the loss.
Yep.
It was his shoulders on the mat. They got the 3 counts. So they did protect Big Bill, but at the same time, every time he's in the ring, somehow he loses the match. And I think that Big Bill needs to be booked better than what he has. I'm really hoping that the rumors are true and that Enzo is coming back and that he's coming back or he's coming to AEW because I think that Big Bill and Enzo put together once again, man, they whenever they were with WWE, they were literally going up until everything happened the way it did. What do you think? Do you think that we may see Enzo coming to AEW? And if we do, are they going to put him with Big Bill, or are we going to see a feud between the two?
I think we're going to see a feud at first. And I don't see Enzo coming on top on that one, but who knows? I mean, on the mic, Enzo will tear him apart.
Right.
But in the ring, I don't see Enzo coming on top. I mean, you're talking 205 versus, 300-pound plus. I can't see Big Bill eating it, but Enzo will have the popularity, I think.
Right. Um, this next match, I really wasn't looking forward to it. It was Mercedes Moné versus Queen Aminata, and it actually wasn't a bad match, but that's because the Queen, she could go in the ring, and I think that she made Mercedes Moné look a lot better than what Mercedes is. I knew that Mercedes wasn't dropping the title, but man, I was hoping that she was. But I think it was a decent match. I didn't hate it. I'm not gonna say I loved it, but I didn't hate it.
Oh, I like Queen Aminata.
Yeah.
I think she's got a lot of potential. Give her another year or two. I think she'll be a world champ. I like her. I don't think she has much personality per se, but I think her in-ring ability.
It's great.
Yep.
Yeah, she is. And I'm hoping that she gets better on the mic because I agree with you. I think that she has the potential to be the women's world champion, and I hope that happens. We'll see. I remember when she first debuted, man. She just came out of nowhere. She kind of wrestled back whenever AEW had there's some matches on YouTube. I can't remember the name of the program. She was participating in that a lot, and she got really good. And they're starting to give her a little bit of a push. I hope that we see a lot more of her on Dynamite. Next, we have backstage again, the private party. They want to talk to Renee and the Young Bucks. The private party wants another title shot. Matt said, I made a mistake. You're a lot better than what we thought. But that was your last chance. And then, of course, Stokely came out. He said the next time that they challenge for the titles and they lose, they're done. Besides, everyone knows Isaiah is the single star. Do you think that we're going to see private party split up? Was this a seed planted by Stokely?
No, I think Stokely is going to help win, to be honest. Whether they know it or not, I think Stokely's going to help them win. Now, if it happens in the next 2 weeks, yeah, I can see him losing and splitting. But I mean, if it's the next pay-per-view or the one after that, then I can see him taking it.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a feeling that Isaiah is going to turn on his partner, and we're going to see a split. That we're going to see that feud because Isaiah, look, Stokely wasn't lying. Isaiah is the better athlete between the two. I would like to see that a singles push with him. I'm not a big fan of Private Party. They're good. Don't get me wrong. They're just not my cup of tea for whatever reason. Next, we seen that the Elite was there. Jack Perry said today is a special day in AEW history because it's Kenny Omega's birthday. And then Perry reminds us that Omega had 20 feet of his intestines removed. So they got him a cake that says, "Happy birthday, Kenny." And then they dumped a bunch of animal raw intestines on top of the birthday cake. And then Okada, my boy, says, "Happy birthday, bitch." He gets me every time. He makes me laugh every damn time he does that. I love Okada. I do. It's hard to think about him as a heel just because he is so over with everybody.
He's just a talent. I don't care if that's the only word he knows in English. Yeah, it gets me every time too. They were kind of reminiscent of the Four Horsemen tonight.
Yeah.
They all had titles and whatnot, and it seemed like a Four Horsemen kind of skit to be honest to me. But they don't carry the same swagger the Four Horsemen did.
Fuck no. I don't know if anyone will. Going back to FTR, I like FTR. I really do. They kind of remind you of back in the day, but I really, really miss Tully Blanchard being with them. I think that Tully being with them made the complete package. Yep. I really hope that we see Tully Blanchard return with FTR because that's when I really liked them. When Tully Blanchard was with them. We go to the next match, the conglomerate or the conglomeration versus the Elite. Lots of action. The big takeaway from this match was, of course, when BCC came in and there was just chaos everywhere. I like this. But it did, again, remind me of the whole NWO thing. Were you a fan of what happened?
It is what it is. I don't see how the conglomerate can really match manpower with the BBC. I like the whole concept of the BBC. Whether I like all their characters or not, it's a cool name. I wish Steven Regal was still with them, because I thought he had a lot to it. But, I don't know. I guess I got to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, there's something else that they were really focusing on was that the Elite was outside of the ring watching everything happen, which led to a confrontation backstage, what we will go to. I'm wondering if the Elite, if they're going to turn babyface to fight these guys, or will we find out that the Elite is part of this? Because one thing that's missing from this is, when they did the whole NWO thing, right? The big thing that really put them on the map was Hulk Hogan turning heel. They don't have this, right? And they're missing that. I think for this to really work, there has to be an holy shit moment. I'm telling you, Shane McMahon is going to show up, but I don't think that's going to have as big of an impact as what they think it's going to have. I don't think people are going to care after a couple of weeks. What say you about this?
I think you're wrong on that, because I think that would be the biggest holy shit in the last 25 years, to see Shane on AEW. Again, I haven't heard any kind of updates on Shane and AEW. For all I know, Shane could be there right now doing stuff backstage. I have no idea. But that would be
Right.
the biggest holy shit thing we've seen since Hogan turned or Eric Bischoff joined.
Right.
So
But this is the thing, though. Everyone's expecting Shane, right? So there's not going to be that big surprise. When Hulk Hogan turned heel, no one's seen that coming.
no.
Nobody. People are expecting, even if it's just a rumor, people are expecting Shane McMahon to show up. I don't know, man. I just don't think after, yeah, you're right. It's going to be a massive holy shit moment at first, but I think after a couple of weeks, they're going to be like, who cares? I could be wrong. I don't know. I desperately want this to work. I want this to take off because I want AEW to skyrocket. I think that when you have two great wrestling companies, it creates a better product for both companies because they have to,
One up
each other, right? So I hope this works. I just have my doubts. Now, like I said, this led to Garcia getting in Jack Perry's face because they're just allowing this shit to happen. It's going to be interesting to see what goes down with all of this. Match number 4, and this was a match I was looking forward to, Shelton Benjamin with MVP versus Leo Rush. I was disappointed. I'm not going to lie to you. Shelton Benjamin looked great. I don't know if it was just nerves or not, but there were a lot of botched spots in this match. This wasn't his best match. He looked good. The match was okay, but this definitely wasn't his best match.
Well, I think his best years are behind him too, unfortunately, because he's a hell of a talent.
Right. Next we find out that, Darby Allin recorded this video package before Wrestle Dream. He's teaming up with Tony Hawk and they're building skate parks in lower income areas. They're selling 8x10s pictures with both Darby and Tony Hawk signing it. And the proceeds go towards building these parks. Next, we see Swerve and Prince Nana with Renee. Swerve thought Benjamin's win was impressive, but what he saw happening, he said that he'll accept a challenge from him anytime, any place. Let's go back a little bit. After that match with Shelton Benjamin, he won the match. They got on the mic. He, challenged Swerve, and we found out that actually I think it's going to be either Friday or Saturday nights, one of those shows that they're going to be facing one another. I wish that it would be on Dynamite and it's going to be Saturday night. It's going to be on Collision. I think that's just a waste of match for Collision because the ratings are so low, and I get it. this is why they schedule the match on Collision so they can get people to watch it. But I wish that it was on Dynamite. Better yet, I think that this is a pay-per-view match. I think they're giving away this for free. What are your thoughts on it?
I think they're doing it to get ratings grab.
Yeah. Now, are you looking forward? Do you think that this is going to be a really good match?
Yeah, I think it'd be decent. I'm pretty easy to entertain though. I mean, when it comes to some of this stuff, I don't
Yeah.
get drawn into the storylines as much. I watch it for the wrestling. I mean, the storylines help. Don't get me wrong, but I've been a fan for so long that nothing really surprises me. I just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. So I think ultimately what we're going to see is I think Benjamin Shelton is going to go over that match, obviously because of interference with MVP, which is going to start it's going to elevate their storyline and their feud that they're having with one another. We had that big brawl backstage, again with Moxley and the BCC. They are really pushing this takeover. So those were the big three spots with them in it. Again, I think that they're just copying what they try to do with Paige and her group. This time is with the men. Do you think that this is going to go over?
Well, I think initially it will, but it could fizzle and fade depending on how they take it or how they drive it.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get to that big holy shit moment because they really have to have that with everything that's happening. And I think that's when we're really going to tell, okay, this is really going to elevate AEW or this is going to flop. Now we have Tony Schiavone. He's welcoming Don Callis. And Don Callis shows up with Brian Cage, who looked great, and Lance Archer. And I did not recognize Lance Archer at first because Lance Archer usually has the mohawk. It's red, braided in the back, really long. And he had just this long black hair covering his face. And at first, I'm like, who is this? And then I realized it was Lance Archer. New look going. I don't like it. I think it makes him look dopey. I do. I think that the way he had his hair before, it just really made him look like this mean badass. This new look, I don't know. I think it looks bad. I know a lot of people don't care about shit like that. I do. What do you think about Lance Archer's new look? Or do you even care?
No, I didn't care. To be honest, when I saw it, I didn't recognize Brian Cage at first, and I sure in the heck didn't remember he was ROH TV champion. But then again, if you asked me a week ago who was ROH TV champion, I couldn't have told you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you what, they all look good. Fletcher came out to I can never pronounce his name. Takashita. He came out. He cut a promo in his native language before tagging in Kyle Fletcher. Fletcher says that everyone only wants to talk about Will Ospreay, but do you want to know why he did what he did? He said, too bad. The Don Callis family has never been stronger than today, according to Callis. They look good, and I was glad to see Brian Cage with them. I really hope that they start booking Cage better because this is another guy who's a beast that should be unstoppable. He has just been booked terribly, though.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Brian Cage, I think, is a very underutilized talent, and I'll say it, he's a talent. I've seen Brian Cage do stuff that he shouldn't do at his size. And and again, Brian Cage was probably better 5 years ago, but
Yeah. Yeah. Next, we see Mariah May. She's in the back with Renee. May wants to know why she's on top of the world and not a single woman can touch her. Um, she wants someone to come that is good for her to fight. She says she doesn't care if it's Japan, Mexico. She's like, AEW is where the best wrestle, question mark. She's like, no, AEW is where the best are afraid of the glamour. And Jay then runs out to confront Maya Ray. She goes to hit Mariah May. Mariah moves out of the way. She accidentally hits Christopher Daniels because he came out there to try to break them up. I just didn't care about this segment. I don't care about Mariah May. You know, Anna Jay, I like her, but I'm not someone that I wouldn't buy a pay-per-view because she was on it.
No. I think you're just not a huge fan of the women division at all, to be honest.
Not on AEW, I'm not.
You know,
they're lacking. WWE, yeah, there's a couple of the girls there that I think that if they did a character change or made them heels, that I'd be invested in them. But WWE's women division is just on another fucking level than AEW's, man. I mean, AEW needs to pick up their game with the women's division. I think that they don't highlight it enough, and there's just something missing there.
Yeah, but again, WWF's had 20 plus years to develop this. You know, I mean, you look at it before Lita and Trish Stratus. How horrible was it? You look at it, horrible. You know, so they've had 20 years of grinding the women's division to refine it. You know, and you could say what you want about AEW, but they're still 5 years into this. You know, and
they are
to even try to compete with the WWF. You know, that's a huge undertaking.
Right. And I agree. Look, I'm a huge fan of AEW. I think I'm a bigger fan of AEW than what you are. You know, AEW, I was excited when they were coming in. And man, when they first started, they were on fire. My problem is that since they've started, it's like the past year and a half, they've just gone downhill for whatever reason. It's been bad storylines, bad bookings. I mean, I want them to get back to where they were at when they first started, and I'm hoping, you know, the Tony Schiavone kept on saying that, you know, this is a new era that we're coming in with AEW, and I hope that means better storylines and better booking, because again, I desperately want AEW to survive. I want them to get elevated, and I want them to be a real competitor against WWE, not to try to beat WWE, but so both companies can elevate their talent even more, so that, like you said, that they're one-upping one another. You know, that's good for the fans, and that's good for the talent as well, because the talent, they're not stuck with just one promotion. You know, there's other promotions they can go to, which means that they can negotiate their contract better, get more money. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. You know, the next is the main event. It is Jay White with the Gun Club, Juice Robinson, against Christian Cage with Nick Wayne and Mama Wayne. This was a really good match. I love how Nick Wayne set up Juice Robinson with the chair that got him thrown out of the ring, or thrown out. They had to go backstage. Really good match. And then, of course, we see Kip Sabian come in because he's been trying to get with Christian for a while now. Ultimately, that led to him distracting the referee long enough for Hangman Adam Page to come in, give Jay White his clothesline, which led to Christian beating Jay White. What did you think about this match?
You know, I'm not a huge Christian fan. I haven't been for years. I didn't see the appeal to him, but you know, I got to give him his props. The guy in AEW, it was probably the best career move he could have done. You know, even though they crapped on him, put him in the TNA, you know, 3 years back, whatnot. You know, Christian Cage, yeah, you almost can't say enough about him. He's got the knowledge. He's got the ring ability. You know, he's got that. He's got just a great character going on right now. You know, it's almost hard not to like him.
Yeah, I agree, man. I too haven't been a big Christian fan until he came to AEW. His promos, man, has just been so damn good. Whenever he was feuding with Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and just the shit that he was saying. I mean, it was literally like, oh my God, did he just say that shit? I loved it. And Christian Cage, man, I love this version of Christian. And I think that it's a matter of time that he's going to get that belt. I think that when he cashes in, he's going to become world champion. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Christian Cage. What is your overall thought about Dynamite?
You know, wasn't bad. You know, I'm pretty simple to keep interested. You know, I'll watch it thick and thin. I mean, I watched TNA during probably the worst periods of their time. You know, um, just because I'm an enthusiast. Um, you know, I think they just need to find that one certain thing that's going to help elevate them. You know, and you know, in wrestling, everything's going to be organic. You know, the more organic it is, the better it is. You know, and I think they're trying to artificially get things organically, and that's not going to work. You know, um, you know, they have the ability to get some holy shit moments, and this is awesome or this is great or whatever. You know, but they can't do it consistent. You know, and that's a
Right.
big. You know, and the other thing is, you know what? I've got God, 40 years of watching wrestling on my side, 40 plus years. All right. And I think I could probably, you know, could could set up a match or set up, you know, a TV series or whatever, you know. And I bet you I couldn't. I bet you I'd flub. And I can guarantee you somebody would criticize what I did and how I did it, you know. So I mean, we can all be armchair quarterbacks, but until you're sitting in that spot making the decisions, it's not as easy as you think.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I know this much. Tonight's Dynamite was definitely better than Raw Monday night,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm not saying that they're going to beat them in ratings and none of that shit. From a pure,
Entertainment.
honest perspective of someone who loves professional wrestling, Monday Night Raw was fucking boring. Not saying WWE sucks. I love WWE. That particular show was boring. And it was the first time in quite a while that I have thought that a product from WWE was boring, right? But it was. Dynamite tonight definitely beat them as far as excitement wise. And call me fucking crazy, Mark. Going back to Enzo and that organic moment, I honestly think that if Enzo comes back, just because how good he is on the mic, if you put him with the right person, I think that that could be that organic push that AEW as a whole needs, as long as they don't fuck up what they're doing with him.
Yeah. The catalyst, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. So I haven't heard any rumors about Enzo coming though. So I mean,
Oh yeah.
you're probably a little bit more informed on that stuff, but I hadn't heard anything yet.
Yeah. Speaking of, you sent me something right before we've been on air to do this podcast, and it was AW Wrestling News, but I wasn't able to open it. Anything that you want to bring up that's interesting
You
that
know,
we
I
should
don't
know about?
know if I sent it or not, but there was a clip about Nikki Bella and her ex-husband and how he won in court over uh,
Oh,
rights to see the child and whatnot. You know, um, I wasn't sure if I sent it though. I was kind of sleepy. I might have sent it to you. I don't know.
yeah, you said it. I just couldn't open it. But I tell you what, that whole thing with Nikki Bella, and her husband that she's getting divorced from, that whole thing was screwy, and it kind of came out that she was actually the aggressor in that whole situation. So, their marriage is over with, and they should go their own ways. The most important thing is that child. They need to both grow up and realize that that child is number one, and that all this nonsense between the two is going to eventually affect that child if they don't fix it. So
that's pretty much what the judge said. He told him to go take parenting classes to be a better parent to that child. But yeah, that's pretty much what the judge said too.
yeah. So all right. Well, please subscribe to our channel. We will be back on Friday for SmackDown.
Yep.
Anything your way?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm working on getting some people for some interviews. And please share our podcast so we can reach people. Until Friday night, you all have a great one. Mark, my friend.
Gotcha. You too, bud.
We'll be talking soon, bro.
Yep. Later, bud.
Good night.
Yep. Night.